Back with Bobby and JJ Radio. We have, it's actually one of our partners in crime at Keller Williams City View, Mr. Doc Stevens. He's with the Ellen Stevens Group at Keller Williams Realty City View. He's been in the industry for 14 years, 9 years a 5-star agent, Platinum Top 50 finalist, 7 years in a row. 7 years, and then he's won it 3 years.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I want to say thank you, Doc, for finally hanging out with us on the show.
Well, you're welcome. Appreciate the invitation.
I know you're down the hallway from us all the time, but we get to see you in the studio, which is awesome. I want to first say thanks for hanging out, but secondly, I want to kind of talk about your journey in real estate and what got you and your lovely wife, Ellen, to jump into the real estate game.
We had a friend in Houston who was with Keller Williams and who had been telling us for 5 years, you guys need to be in real estate.
Sure.
And at the time, I had an electronics company that serviced retirement communities in 13 states, and I was on airplanes all the time fixing stuff and installing things. And what really triggered it was I had so many miles on America West, they always upgraded me, and I had this horrible service trip to California. I had to run to catch my plane in Phoenix to get the last flight out of Phoenix to San Antonio. I got on the plane. The flight attendant, as I'm buckling up, says, "Hi, Doc, welcome home," and hands me my usual drink. And it just hit me. She thinks I live here. and I do. So I went home and I said, "Ellen, what were we doing the last time we had any fun?" And she said, innocently enough, "We've always liked to go look at houses together." So I said, "Well, maybe there's some magic in that answer. Why don't you get your license, Ellen, and I'll run your back room and everything will be fine."
Sure.
And our coach at the time said, "Well, Doc, you like to talk to people too much, and you'll talk about real estate, and if you don't get a license, you'll go to jail. Go get your license." So we're now both licensed agents and have never looked back.
I like it.
So tell us about your team and what it consists of and what it's like working with your team.
Well, Ellen and I have proved that husband and wife can work together. I just tell people she's the picture, I'm just the frame. And she likes showing houses and working with people and hosting events, and I'm more of the numbers guy and the technology guy, and I do listings and things like that. As our business grew, we found that we needed to hire some administrative help, and so now I currently have 2 young ladies who are interns working for me, and a part-time transaction coordinator who keeps all the paperwork and the details straight. And she allows us to concentrate on our business details and not so much the minutia.
So she's doing paperwork while you're taking care of your clients.
That's exactly correct.
And so, Doc, you've been now in the industry for almost a decade and a half, right? And so
Yes.
what do you feel separates a really good listing agent versus an average one? I have a really juggernaut sitting next to me, or 2 of them between you two, and then Bobby's kind of average. So what's the difference between you guys and Bobby is what I'm asking.
Yeah, we know your level of production. A really good listing agent sets out to get their client the most money possible for their house as fast as possible with the least headaches. And by the way, there are always headaches.
Sure.
And the agent needs to be able to take care of them. But the way you do that is you prepare the house for showing. You stage it, you professionally photograph it, you use all the available technology to display it to the largest market, and you price it right at market. So many agents go out and take a few pictures with their iPhone and write a paragraph or 2 description and slap it on the MLS and hope that somebody will come along and buy it.
That's been working for the last couple of years, maybe, right?
Well, for the last couple of years, it has been working.
It didn't work that well in 2008 when we were all hanging out.
No, it didn't.
Those people went away.
Yeah, really quick.
So we lost half the agents, I would say. And
overnight.
Yeah, overnight.
Well, if you're going to hold yourself out as a professional and you say, I'm going to help you do the largest transaction in your life, then you ought to be prepared and willing to do that.
Sure. And so what if someone asks you to tell them if a property is a good investment? How do you usually consult them in that regard?
I first of all have to give them a disclaimer. I have a degree in economics and I love the numbers.
Okay.
good investors have some rules of thumb that they use. They call cap rate, which is the return on investment. Sometimes they use a gross rent multiplier, which is just as useful for comparing multiple properties. I like the 1% rule. If it rents for 1% of what it cost me to acquire it, then the numbers generally work out. But if you don't do the numbers, if you just go in and say, that's a pretty house, I think I'll buy it and see if I can rent it, you're going to wind up in trouble as an investor.
Sure. And so, back to anyone that's listening. So 1% rule means I bought something for $200,000, but I can rent it for $2,000 a month.
That's exactly
That's
correct.
a pretty decent investment.
That is a good investment. Generally, you've got to make sure they're not hidden repairs that are going to be required, and
Sure.
You've got to make sure you screen your tenants properly and all that stuff.
For sure. And do you believe in the flip, or do you usually guide your clients more to a longer investment hold?
Most of my clients are buy and hold.
Okay.
Some of them are buy, improve, and hold.
Right.
They buy distressed properties. They fix everything that's wrong with them and doll them up, usually to within the top 20% in the neighborhood in appearance and condition, and then they rent them out.
How about what do you say to the investor who read a book that thinks he can flip a house?
Or went to a seminar.
Yeah. What do you say to him?
I deal with
her.
seminars all the time, and they generally call and say, I want to buy something 20% under the market. And
Yeah, they have this formula, right? That
They
doesn't
have a
exist.
formula, and they know all the buzzwords. And I say, well, please understand that if such a property were available, I'd be buying it myself
Right. Especially in this market.
in this market. you
For
bet.
sure. Well, for some great advice, consultation, and a prettier face, if you're dealing with Ellen, you should check out this team at eleganttexashomes.info or call them at 210-764-9403. Again, that's 764-9403.